Hey there, Marina Orms here. We are looking at the full moon for February 5th. And this full moon is in Leo. And why today's full moon in Leo is a key to unlocking change is what I am talking about today. So we're going to dive in to the full moon and what it means and why self-expression is important around this Leo full moon. So thank you so much for being here. You can find me at astrologyheals.com. My name is Marina Orms, and so the full moon is exact on February 5th at 10:28 Pacific time. And so your time zone may vary from that, but that exact full moon means that is the exact moment when not only is the moon its fullest, but it is also the exact moment when the moon is exactly opposite the sun. So that's a definition of a full moon. And this full moon also brings an alignment called a T-square. And that T-square means that we have not only the moon and the sun in opposition, which is the definition of a full moon, but also in a square to both of those planets, we have the planet Uranus. And so technically it's the sun and the moon moving past a square to Uranus, because Uranus moves very slowly. It is in the sign of Taurus, where it stays for several years. So Uranus in Taurus, I've spoken about this before. It is about bringing about a shift in our reality, a new normal, a new way of looking at things, a new way of establishing habits and patterns for our daily lives, our routines, our ways of maintaining things. So think new normal in terms of sustainability, thinking outside the box in terms of how we do things on a day-to-day basis. And you've got a sense of what that background theme is looking like for that. We're in the middle of that Uranus in Taurus period right now. And I have another video all about that. So if you're interested, go check that out in the 2023 playlist on my YouTube channel, Astrology Heals. So with Uranus in the middle of Taurus, this particular full moon is forming such that the sun and moon are in a T-square. The moon is in that self-expression, creativity, shiny self, shining your light sign of Leo. And so this full moon, the theme of this full moon is about self-expression. It's about shining your light, being your true self, living out loud, and moving and sharing and shining from your essence. So what does that look like? What does it mean to be creative and to do things in a way that allows your truth to move from the inside to the outer world, where it can be seen, where it can be appreciated, where it can be of use, where people can have the benefit of what it is you have to share, that is your own truth, that is of your experiences, your talents, your abilities, your gifts. So those themes happening this full moon, and that full moon, as I mentioned, is in a T-square with the planet Uranus. So touched a tiny bit on what Uranus and Taurus is about. I will come back to that. But first, just a quick reminder of what a T-square is. It's not a big mysterious thing. It simply means that at the moment the sun is setting, the moon is rising. So, right? So that's moon and sun opposite in the sky, or opposite in the zodiac, which is really a big circle that goes around the earth in the sky as we look up. So you have the sun setting and the moon rising at the same moment. They're exactly opposite. That is the definition of a full moon. So when the moon rises at sunset, you have a full moon. So in case you didn't ever put those things together, I think it's fascinating, and we should learn that much earlier. But anyway, full moon, sun setting, moon rising, full moon rising. And now we are going to add the planet Uranus into this picture. So at the moment, the sun is setting, the moon is rising, Uranus is directly above in the sky. And so that means Uranus is halfway between, so to speak, you know, the sun and the moon. It's going to be directly above at the point we call the midheaven, at the time the sun is setting and the moon is rising. That's a T-square. It just means they're aligned in a certain way. And now, what is the meaning of the T-square? The meaning for us in astrology is that T-squares create a feeling of pressure. They can be reflective of things evolving or unfolding that are inviting us to shift, to change, to learn, to grow. That T-square energy brings squares, which are the energy of needing to shift our approach, our way of looking at things, shift our way of seeing things, of thinking about them, of approaching them, and of what we do, right? So that sense of needing to see a shift within ourselves and to take the wheel to steer things in the direction of where we want them to go. And so we need to have a shift in consciousness that can help us see a bigger picture perspective. And that is what a square is doing. It's asking us to see a bigger picture perspective and say, okay, I need to make this happen. Okay, so we have that energy going on of the T-square, and the planets involved are the sun in Aquarius, the moon in Leo, and Uranus in Taurus. So with the moon in Leo, we have that energy of sharing, of shining, of creativity, of self-expression, of trying things, right? Moving and expressing and putting yourself out there. So think generosity, think sharing your gifts, think, doing art or something creative, but also making sure that what you are doing with that art is coming from your true self. And so, in other words, what are you doing in your daily work? Are you being asked to solve some problems or to deal with a certain situation or set of circumstances? So what is your creative solution to that going to be? And how is that creative solution coming from your uniqueness? Okay, so we're adding in the planet Uranus, which is asking us, like I described, is asking us to shift, to have some shakeup, some change to our day-to-day, to our routines, to what we think of as normal or predictable, to how we can take things to another level of sustainability, another level of thinking about our expectations and the way we do things day to day. So, it's just thinking about things like if you're concerned about climate change, which hopefully you are, if you're concerned about climate change, what can you do in your daily habits, in your daily way of living your life, that can bring in something more sustainable? So what are your practices that you can do that can shift? And how can you bring that together with this concept of self-expression? So sharing and being creative So how can you introduce new ideas from your own experience, from your own skills and talents and gifts and unique perspective and unique set of experiences and life situations that are what comprise who you are. So what is it you know from being yourself that you can bring to bear on daily problems, on new solutions to those problems, on implementation? Implementation is a big word for Uranus in Taurus, implementing change. How do we take those ideas and those changes that we can imagine or vision and then bring them into the steps, the action steps, the tangible, the implementation that is going to be sustainable, that is going to be integrated into our daily lives, our ways of approaching things. So you see how these are going to work together for this full moon. So we've got the energy of creativity that's coming from your essence. And then we're going to put that together with this bigger picture energy of shift, of a new normal, of new ways of approaching our daily lives. And as you bring your creative offerings into those issues, challenges, problems, etc., you can see that it's essential that you share and don't hold back being who you are. So in other words, are you really fully living from your essence? Are you really being who you're capable of being? Are you playing small in any ways? Are you pretending to fit in because it's easier than being your true self? Are you avoiding doing your creative work because life keeps happening, because your to-do list is too long, or your schedule is too full, or somebody needs you, or something is happening constantly? So how can you bring in, and that's what this full moon is going to invite you to do, is to bring in more full and rich expression of your creative self. So giving energy to, awakening, enlivening your sense of creativity and your expression of your own personal experiences, challenges, solutions, thoughts, artistic expression, right? So maybe it's writing out your story. Maybe it's painting or making music or something that helps you put your voice into an expression that can be received, appreciated, make a difference for others, that can help to move energy in the direction of solutions for yourself, your partner, your family, your community, your workplace, the wider world, wherever it is that you are making a difference. And maybe it's all of those things. So how is you living your life from your truth, being your creative self, making room for that? So think about if you're shining a light and the pinhole through which that light can, you put a very bright flashlight, but if it's shining through a tiny pinhole, how much of that light can really get out? So what you want to think about is widening that pinhole, widening the hole through which your light can shine. And that means making space in your life for sharing, for creativity, for creative problem solving, for expression of all kinds. And for, maybe, like I said, telling your story, maybe it's the act of telling your story to someone that is what the kind of expression that is going to make a difference. You never know what kind of impact it could have if you share share your vulnerability, which is, so if you're really truly sharing your truth, you are tapping into that place of vulnerability, and where somebody could try to silence you. So it's an inner choice to say, I'm not going to be silenced. And so think about that pinhole again. And it's really up to you to let that hole widen through which you can shine your light. And any of the naysayers out there, anyone who wants to silence your voice, anyone who wants to make you feel small, think about how you respond to that and why. Because the world needs your truth, and so there, those factors that come from the outside world that want to silence you are not the truth, right? They're the distraction. So how can you get yourself to feel safe, to share, ignoring those distractions? And part of that is finding your tribe, finding your audience, finding who loves and appreciates what you have to say, who you are, how you are being in the world, and focus on that. So whether it's a friend or somebody who's got some positive words to share with you, let that come in and fill your heart, and let it help you open that pinhole a little wider and share your light a little bit more. That's why it takes courage, is because we have to choose what kind of responses we're listening to. Are we going to listen to the negativity and the naysayers, or are we going to listen to that little voice inside of us that says, this is important to me, I want this, it feels good when I expand into it, when I share it, and there are people out there who want to hear what I have to say, or who want to see my art, or who want to hear my song, or whatever it is, who want to see my work and my approach to solving problems. So, excuse me. Okay, so we have the planet Uranus that is about this bigger picture shift, a new normal, implementation of new ways of being, of new solutions, of shakeup and change to the status quo. So this particular full moon is actually bringing possibilities for change, and can be a key to unlocking change, because it is because of this alignment. This T-square alignment is putting pressure on us to not just sit around and wait for things to change, but to speak it out loud, to be it, to live it, to share it, to shine it in the world. So what does that mean for you? Does it mean volunteering to be part of a community that's making a difference in something that's important to you? Does it mean speaking up to someone who is a naysayer? Does it mean standing your ground and speaking your voice, finding your truth? Or does it mean, sharing more of your creative work? Does it mean making more time to focus on that creative work, and how that creative work not only feeds you and your own well-being, because when you are creative, you feel good, and it supports your mind, body, spirit, emotion, wholeness, and wellness, but it also makes a positive contribution to the world around you, because I can guarantee you that no matter what it is you're doing that's creative, somebody is interested in it, and it will benefit someone, and it will contribute to the bigger picture of solutions, of sharing, of love, of validation, of respect, of kindness, of caring of one another, of creativity in the general sense, bringing more joy, bringing more freedom These are all themes that come from the planetary alignments. So the sun in Aquarius is also bringing this month, the astrological month, I guess you might call it, the zodiac sign of Aquarius is the month we're in. And so we have this energy of shakeup, of freedom. And by the way, we're getting a taste of some of the themes that are going to be coming with Pluto going into Aquarius in March. Like I've been talking about, there's a big shift coming in March with Pluto leaving Capricorn, where it's been since 2008 and ish, and going into Aquarius. Pluto's really far out there in the solar system, right? It moves very slowly. So with Pluto taking many years to go through a sign, its shift here into Aquarius, it's going to go into Aquarius retrograde, back into Capricorn for the rest of this year. And then in January of 2024, it will go back into Aquarius, where it will stay for the next 19 years. So big picture background themes for us, and Pluto in Capricorn has been certainly an interesting ride. Pluto is transformation. Capricorn is systems, structures, institutions, landmark structures and government, and just our ways of doing things, our ways of organizing as a society. And so those have been undergoing a process of transformation. You might call it breakdown. So with Pluto going into Aquarius, we're going to have more of that opportunity to vision what the future actually looks like. As we've been transforming the foundations, what are we going to build from there? What can we envision and imagine, and how can we think outside the box to bring in new ideas, new solutions, new possibilities? All those themes are going to be with us as Pluto goes into Aquarius. And then this particular full moon, which is, not it's a shorter blip in time astrologically. It's more, just affecting us right now. But this full moon is bringing up some of those themes of the Aquarian freedom, rebellion, shakeup, breakthrough, also the ability to see things objectively. So a little bit of detachment that gives you that ability to step back, to think about problems from an outside perspective, more of that objectivity. So objectivity and detachment, which can bring sometimes a feeling of, what's the word? Not disillusionment, but like disconnection from, a feeling of being pushed out, exiled. That's the word I'm looking for. So that can be a theme with Aquarius energy as well. But on the positive side, and if we focus on the positive possibilities here, we can open to this month's Aquarian energy, bringing possibilities of freedom, of breakthrough, and of thinking outside the box, opening to new possibilities. So this full moon comes into a moon cycle that began with the Aquarian new moon on January 23rd. And that new moon in Aquarius planted the seed of this month, this moon cycle of shift, of shakeup, of thinking outside the box, and focusing on themes of freedom, change. What do we want that change to look like? What can we vision about the future if we really let ourselves go and not feel constrained by the constructs of the past? So that energy is with us for this full moon as well. And with the sun and moon being opposite, we've got that energy of the sun in Aquarius, bringing those themes of freedom and breakthrough, thinking about new possibilities. And then the moon that's saying, in order to do this, something needs to be unlocked or opened about your creative self-expression. And that is going to work hand in hand with that energy of change and new possibility. So, so to respond to the pressure that this full moon is bringing, which is really opportunity, an opportunity to change and to embody and embrace new possibilities, to shift into something closer to what you want for your life and for the world. It's going to be important for you to open that pinhole, shine your light a little brighter, a little more confidently, and dedicate time for your creative self to find its expression. And that, because of the T-square with Uranus, is also activating part of this bigger picture shift of humanity and how we approach life and normalcy and creating a new status quo, right? Rebelling against the status quo, but also establishing a new one, because Taurus is all about the status quo, and Uranus, which is in Taurus, is all about shakeup and change. So bringing shakeup and change to the status quo, seeing things in new ways, opening to new possibility, bringing in a breath of fresh air, and thinking about, so bringing it all together here for this full moon, really thinking about how your creative work, your expression of your true self, your telling of your story, your doing of your own art, your shining of your light, whatever that looks like, and taking that to a new level is going to facilitate this bigger picture shift in the in the energies that we're all going through. So it's going to be good for you and your life, but also a good thing to do for the world, to be more fully your true self and to not hold back in what that is. So Leo energy is about being seen. It's about having an audience. So who is your audience? Who do you need to share with? Who needs to hear what you have to say? And I would encourage you to think creatively about what that could be. There's not only one kind of audience, like when you are standing on a stage and you have people in rows of chairs looking at you. I mean, that's sort of, I guess, that's the classic image in my mind when I think of an audience. But an audience, it can be anyone who's listening to you, right? Anyone who might be benefiting from what you have to share. It could be the cashier at the grocery store. It could be your neighbor. It could be your child. It could be someone you work with. It could be several people at once. It could be one person at a time. An audience is just who you are sharing with. And then conversely, you want to think also about how can you support others in their self-expression and bring this sense of enthusiasm, of encouragement, of belief in possibility and kindness and joy through your interest in what other people have to share, and affirming to them that you're interested in what they have to share. You want to hear more, you want to have an exchange and make it genuine, right? Only do this with people that you really do want to have more of an exchange with, but bringing that sense of shining and bringing opportunities to share and experience one another's gifts, all good stuff. So be an audience, find your audience, share, shine, and also be that wonderful recipient of the gifts that other people have to share. If you are interested in looking at how this T-square or this moon cycle or anything else I'm talking about here shows up in your own chart, in other words, this would be significant for you if you have planets in the middle degrees of fixed signs. So You may or may not be, that's kind of technical. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. But my point is that I have mini readings. Check it out, astrologyheals.com. I can do a mini reading for you on how this T-square shows up in your chart, what areas of your life are being activated, and give you some more details about how to work with this energy. Obviously, what I've shared here today can give you a great start. And if you're looking at diving deeper into exploring how this shows up in your own chart, you can book a mini reading. I do have those scheduled, so find a time, make your payment, and I will send you a recording at the time that you're scheduled for. So it's super simple. And if you want a deeper, in-depth session with me, I have those available as well. So astrologyheals.com is where you can look for mini readings and sessions with me, and explore more about how this shows up in your chart. But also enjoy the energy of this Leo full moon. It's about self-expression, and we are truly unlocking the change that that our world is going through, the possibilities, the doors that are opening to those possibilities. And so have an open mind, find those places that give you hope, that give you that feeling of connection and of possibility, because there's more there than you probably realize. And we only close those windows when we convince ourselves that the possibilities are not there. So the possibilities are infinite. We just have to tap into them. And this is your invitation officially to do so with this Leo full moon, and explore how to do that through your own authentic self-expression and sharing your light and your truth and your experiences. All right, thanks so much for being here. I am Marina Orms. Again, you can learn more about working with me at astrologyheals.com. Thanks for being here. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. That really helps me and supports my work. Tell a friend. Please share these videos if you're enjoying them. Come back every day, because we've got astrology of unshakable self-care to support you with the astro vibe of each day and understanding the energies and how you can work with them every day. So I'll see you next time. Bye for now.